And we're live. Welcome to the show. Hi, everyone. Grab a seat, grab some snacks. Well, no, don't grab some snacks yet. We just started the show. Don't leave. Donnie brought snacks. Hi, everyone. This is Loser Leaves Wrestling. This is the woos and whats. Roy's having a rough time. Roy choked on something.
I started laughing as soon as I started sipping tea. That was it.
That's a bad thing. Welcome to Loser Leaves Wrestling. This is the woos and whats of AEW Dynamite. My name is Red. I'm here with Roy. Say hi, Roy.
Hi.
And we're here with special guest of the show, Donnie Rodriguez. Donnie, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. This is my first time being on a Zoom where it will be productive, so I'm very excited.
Oh, hell yeah. Donnie is a prolific writer, a comedy writer, and also he's in LA with me right now, but not like we're not in the same room. That'd be unsafe. But we're here and we're talking wrestling. But Donnie, a lifelong wrestling fan, but hasn't seen a single episode of AEW Dynamite. Hasn't seen a single episode. And so we're going to pick his brain a little bit as we go through this show, because I have a much different opinion of this show than Roy does right now.
Interesting.
Overall thoughts. Roy, say, what do you think?
Yeah, I just thought the show ruled. Like, I just thought, like, there's this energy that's been missing from Dynamite over the last few weeks. This energy was back tonight. It was hectic. But it felt good. Like last week's show, all of these wrestlers were on it and nothing was happening and it didn't really matter. This week, there was an urgency to the show in my head, at least while I was watching it.
Okay.
Well, I really enjoyed that.
We're going to get into that. Donnie, after never seeing an episode of AEW Dynamite before in your life, what are your initial thoughts on the show? There's probably a lot of weird loose ends that you don't understand the connecting pieces to.
Yeah, it was tough. I didn't want to look up storyline. Like, I was going in it like I identify, oh, this must be setting up storyline, or oh, this must be a connection there. And I think overall, I mean, again, I'm, as you said, I haven't followed any of it, but I was afraid that this was going to be like TNA and like, oh, here's some old WWE retreads, and yeah, he's got a fused disc in his back, but we're trotting him out there because we got to get some audience into it. And I thought it was the wrestling point of like everything I wrote down here on my notes too. Sense of urgency for everything. Every match, there was no lulls in the matches. The only time I got a little, there was just interview bumpers after everything. And like, they were too urgent. They were too quick, and everyone just screaming. It was like, okay, maybe just like cut this in half and just have meaningful, say meaningful stuff. And that's the wrestling I was into.
It was almost like there's a sense of urgency on the show and when they were writing it. Moving forward, Tony writes, Tony's in the chat. We got Tony in the chat. Boom, Team Roy for life. Boo. Yeah. We're not Team Roy for life. Get out of here, Tony. No, stay here. Please, God, stay here, but also get out of here. Let's start talking about the show. Let's get into this. We're in Washington, D.C. We're in Washington, D.C. today.
The city in which the very first Dynamite took place.
Oh, very interesting. Very interesting. Good fun fact. Washington, D.C., home of the football team. And we're here. And they also, I noticed in the crowd, everyone's wearing masks.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Such a high turnout of masks. And if Donnie, you haven't been watching, but these wrestling shows, they don't like masks in the audience. They do not wear them. It was refreshing to see, though. Did you notice?
I wonder if that's the first note I wrote down, masks aplenty. And I wonder if a lot of it is where you're at, right? Because wrestling has this weird dichotomy of like, it's a very Southern thing and I don't want to get into any political talk about it, but like, it does seem that like, yeah, they're in DC. DC probably has these measures where they're used to being indoors, wearing masks with Omicron spreading. And I'm sure if you're in, some of the other places, it's more laxed and thus the audience is probably more lax. But it didn't take away a single thing from the show for me. So it's like, great.
I did notice that when, like, for instance, let's talk about the first part here. We get immediately as the show opens up, we get Jon Moxley. We get Wild Thing playing in the background, and out comes Jon Moxley looking great.
Incredible.
Looking great. Donnie, a little backstory here. I don't know if you noticed, Jon Moxley, he has been away on alcohol rehab facility because he had a kid last year and he was dealing with some alcohol issues. He's been away since I believe it was October. Roy, is that true?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. End of October.
He's lost a lot of weight. Even his hair looks fuller.
Yeah.
His hair looks fuller.
Yeah.
He comes out and he basically gives this promo saying how he was fighting his demons and he's got scars. He's letting his scars show and he's happy to be back, but also he's like hungry. He's thirsty. He said he was thirsty and that he's very excited to be back and he wants to fight everyone. And he's only drinking blood right now. He's only drinking blood. That's what he said. Very excited to see him back. How do we feel about that, Roy? You excited?
Look. I first of all, Jon Moxley saying "fuck" on live television, hilarious.
Yeah, he said "fuck" on live television.
That's the first thing he says after being gone for 3 months is "go fuck yourself" to someone who's like screaming, "Get that trash out of the ring!" Like,
is that what he said?
He's responding to an individual heckler in the crowd.
Yeah.
Incredible. First of all, second of all, I just think you've got Bryan Danielson, you've got CM Punk, you've got Adam Cole, you had Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega. Jon Moxley is the most important person to this company. He has been since day one. He was the person creating all of the buzz from the beginning of this company.
Sure.
He was the person carrying the title through the pandemic when there was no one in the crowd. He is of all of the incredible promos that Punk has cut, that Danielson has cut, Hangman, all of these people, none of them, never in the history of AEW has there been a moment until tonight where you could hear a pin drop in the arena. It was dead silent for Moxley.
I think part of the reason is that the masks were on and you don't hear I honestly think the masks stopped a lot of the low rumble, because they were dead quiet. Did you notice the quiet, Donnie?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think why it did seem a lot of a perfect towing the line of kayfabe, but in character, even though I don't know his character. I know him from WWE days. So I haven't seen any of his character or anything. And I think there were moments of sincerity and everybody can relate to struggling with stuff. And I think maybe the quietness comes from introspection versus there's no other introspective moments this night, right? It's
there's no real thought. I agree.
Right.
Whoa.
No, it's not even shots at that, but I think it was a very strong because it felt genuine that he was struggling. And I didn't mind the sort of towards the end he went full character. I'm thirsty, I'll drink your blood. I was like, great. So it's he realized okay, that's as real as we're gonna get. Let's get back into this wrestling stuff. And he did seem genuinely appreciative. And it just makes you, wrestling everything else, you can always come back home, and home's a good place to come back to because they were there for it. And even if you're a prodigal son and you fuck up, you can always go back home.
It's a really special moment. That's honestly the highlight of the show for myself.
For sure.
It's really great to see him back. We have some comments here. Tony writes, Moxley quoted Boba Fett in his promo. He said some of the same lines in the last episodes. I haven't seen this new Boba Fett show. I actually didn't know it was out until you mentioned it right now, Tony. That's very funny and also makes me very sad. I honestly hope that's not true. Smooth writes, any idea what the guy in the crowd shouted? Roy, what did he say?
I thought he said something like "get that trash out of the ring" or something like that. You're a quitter or something stupid that I assume it's something like that.
Yeah, he's and then he immediately said, "Shut the fuck up! Get this guy out of the ring, or get this guy out."
Yeah,
of here,
he like said,
that.
"Go fuck yourself. You're a piece of shit."
Oh,
Is the swearing normal?
He stole Chris Jericho's line. You're allowed to say shit.
Yeah, so you're allowed to say shit. You can't say fuck.
No fuck. No fuck. No fucks allowed.
You also are supposed to be limited to 2 shits per episode, but he said shit like 4 times in that promo.
Is that true? Do we have
that's what I had heard
on that?
Two shits is
because that's in a rated PG-13 movies. You're only allowed to say fuck twice.
I thought it was once.
We'll find out. Someone sound off in the comments if you know. By the way, hey Swizz, we didn't say hi to Swizz before when they gave that great comment.
Back in action.
We're moving on. We're moving on after that really sweet thing. Then we get MJF. MJF's in the back with Wardlow, saying CM Punk is an embarrassment. CM Punk is an embarrassment. And then you got the cheap win using pulling the hair and grabbing the tights and got the win. But Wardlow should have been a little bit more seasoned. He makes some slight towards him, but it's his birthday. It's Wardlow's birthday. And he's just like, I wish you a happy birthday. I'm going to have to dock your pay, but I wish you a happy birthday. Did anyone notice online today that MJF wished R-Truth a happy birthday?
I did notice that. I love that. That was
I love that he's really MJF. Donnie, I don't know. I'm sure you don't know, but MJF has been very WWE focused online, only talking to WWE superstars, and it's very funny. How'd you feel about your first seeing of MJF?
Yeah, I mean, he's so hateable and so irresistible. Like the guy, like I wanted to see more of him, and he's got so much heat, but also like seeing him later, I'm sure we'll get into it later when he came out again. It's just like he feels like a star, and it's certainly the first one I saw where it was just like, oh no, I know the difference. Like immediately, you hear the first note of a singer, and just the first time he opens his mouth, it's like he's not pulling cliches or anything. He's saying real shit. I will only say that one other time because we only get 2 per hour, but he felt legit. He seemed very legit, and even using this big, stronger person and minimizing him and making him smaller and the birthday stuff. I mean, I don't know. That was incredible.
And MJF looked like a star there. Wardlow looked like a dumb idiot with that dumb shirt on. Roy, what did you think of his dumb shirt? Didn't he look bad? Didn't he just look bad? He's supposed to be a star there.
I was distracted because MJF does this thing, and I don't know if it's intentional or not. I like to think it is intentional, but maybe it's not, where he just puts on too much spray tan and he makes it uneven to make him look like even more of an asshole. And it's so good. Like his face, like half of it's darker than it's wonderful. It's really fantastic. But yeah, Wardlow's always worn dumb shirts. I feel like that's like, hopefully when he finally, Donnie, just to fill you in here, there's been like a 2-year build to that guy eventually turning on MJF and becoming a good guy, right?
2 years. At 2 years.
And it almost, it's like almost happened multiple times. My guess is it might happen next week. We'll see. I don't know.
Good luck.
But I hope they do this thing where he's like, he always wears dumb shit because that's how MJF dresses him, because he works for him. So he probably dresses him. So when he becomes a good guy, sweatsuits, nothing but sweatsuits.
I think this is all him. And when we get this face turn, he's going to be looking like that a lot, and it's not going to work. But we have some comments in here. Swizz, as you were writing that, Swizz wrote, he does need to tan his hands though. Because his hands are a vastly different color than the rest of his body. Certified Wrestling Podcast. Certified Wrestling Podcast. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. John Busman says, listen. I'm assuming listening to Certified Wrestling Podcast, and we will. Thank you all so much for joining. And I appreciate, I notice you all. I see you all smashing that like button already. I didn't need to ask. And you're smashing it. Let's continue the smashing. Let's keep it going. Moving on, we've got we get a match finally. We get a match here. We get what's his name? Adam Cole and Britt Baker versus Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander. So we get it's a intergender mixed tag match, but it's not intergender match because they're going to be they have to switch in and out whenever a man or a woman's in the ring. But we did get some intergender moments. The first half of this match was just taunts, it seemed. They're just doing taunts, which was a little frustrating for myself. But then we kind of get into it. It's a good match. Chris Statlander really could go. I'm really a big fan of Chris Statlander. What are you thinking, Roy? What do you say?
I just think she's great. I also think I just think she's great. I'll get into whatever I think later, but yeah, I think she's great.
What do you got? Some secret?
No. I just don't want to. Yeah, I want you to keep
share.
going. I don't want to.
I would kind of appreciate it if you shared it.
No, I don't want to like disrupt your flow.
Roy's keeping secrets. Roy's keeping secrets. But then we get then Chris. I noticed one thing. Well, I'll tell you, just in terms of Chris Statlander, in terms of her being the alien character, and how I've vocally said that I don't like this alien character, or whatever it is. She's less an alien character, and she's more of a big kid, and I think I like that. She's a big kid that likes to joke around. She does the boop thing, which I wasn't a fan of at first, but then before she's like beating up Britt Baker in the corner, she runs over to Adam Cole just to do the like thing and then runs back. Like, I like that. That's some fun stuff. And she gives a great 450 on top of Adam Cole and Britt Baker from the top. But then we get Britt table spot 451.
Is that, did I hear
Area
right
451? That's the name of the move because she's an alien.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's hilarious.
It's called Area 451.
I'm just putting that together now.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I had no idea. That went right over my head.
Yeah, you got to get the numbers right, man.
But Britt Baker falls through a table because Orange Cassidy accidentally pushed her in. Adam Cole does the low blow and then the knee to the back of the head for the win. Donnie, what did you think of this match? Have you seen any Orange Cassidy yet?
So when they first said Orange Cassidy, I thought the female person was Orange Cassidy and Chris, spelled with a K, was the male. I was so confused in it, never seeing them, but they are, I feel like in 2 or 3 years, we'll see Chris and Orange just like not having those gimmicks and just be the really good wrestlers they are. I don't know what it is, their outfits and stuff like that. Like, Chris is like dominant, like mat skills, everything. I was just like, I don't know what you are or who you're supposed to be, but clearly like because you ride that, like if you make them not speak and they're just this mysterious character, it's like, I know the Brit right away. Like I knew she was just a heel, right? Like, and plays it up and so good at it. But yeah, I think a lot of it, the gimmick stuff for me, if you remove that, and they're going to be great in a couple of years, but I mean, that match overall, that was the first match where it's just like, after you get past the like video game opening where it was just like goofy, like bits and shtick, it was great wrestling throughout. And yeah, I mean, I had no problem with the outcome and all that. Like, obviously they're setting it up for the singles matches later, but it was a little hokey towards the end. I'm like, he said in the interview, like, you laid hands on my girl. I was like, you didn't lay hands, and it was like clearly an accident. But aside from that, like, everybody in that ring was so good at what they do.
No, they're a really good bunch, and it was a pretty good match. It was a pretty good match. I was texting Roy in there just saying I wish it was more intergender wrestling and they didn't have to stop immediately when they tagged in, because I don't know. I think AEW should be a little beyond that, right? How do we feel about it?
Yeah, I agree with that. I was saying to you earlier that like, if there's 1 million people watching this show, 999,000 know that this is predetermined and scripted. So like, men can fight women. It's okay. They're not really hitting each other that hard. It's okay. And like, men and women train together in wrestling. Chris Statlander is
bigger and stronger than Adam Cole any day of the week.
100%.
And Statlander also has a lot of experience. Like, if you follow her on the indies, like before she came to AEW, she was only wrestling men. And Britt Baker also wrestled a ton of men on the indies. Like, it's not new. Like, we should be able to do that. It feels like a very safe WWE Disney thing to not let everybody interact with one another. And if you're going to do like the 451 or, Britt's going to do the curb stomp, like, just let them wrestle each other. Let's just go for it. Let's just do it.
We do have a lot of comments in here. So John Busman wrote, listen. Then Certified Wrestling Podcast wrote, hashtag NWA fam. Is this our friend that was a big NWA fan?
It might be.
It might be. MJF best live scene and Mike on a minute on Mike. Yeah, I agree with that. John Busman writes, I'm just doing the Acclaimed. I don't listen to podcasts. This prankster. He's doing the scissoring thing. That's what he was doing. He's doing the scissoring.
Oh, yeah.
He has the arrow, which is the scissoring thing. I get it now. Smiz writes, I wish they would do intergender instead of mixed tag. It seems to slow things down. We are in agreement with you, Smiz. We agree. Tony, that match was way too scripted. Yeah, it was very herky-jerky in the beginning. I think we all agree on that. Smiz, they were talking about how Adam Cole had to distract the ref for Britt to stomp Orange, but Stat can 451 Cole right in front of the ref. Just do intergender. Yep.
Yeah.
At this point, if that doesn't matter, but we've already established that AEW doesn't abide by anyone's rules, even their own. That's true. Don't even argue with that. They never do. Has there ever been a disqualification? Have we ever seen one yet? Which one?
2 weeks ago, MJF got disqualified and lost.
Oh, what was it? What did he do again?
CM Punk ran out and beat up his opponent. So MJF.
Oh, gotcha. So literally the first one happened 3 years in.
We don't
John Busman.
Whatever.
John Busman writes, the rules are dumb, but the match was still very fun. I love Stats. I think we all love Stats. Stats was the MVP at this match. Can we all agree?
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
She definitely stood out the most, I think. Apollonia writes, what does NWA stand for? National Wrestling Alliance,
right.
Not the rap group. That's a different acronym. But yeah, National Wrestling Alliance. But we got to move on. We got a lot of things to talk about today. Then we get Jericho, Chris Jericho. Remember that name, Donnie? Remember that guy?
Yeah, the guy from Fozzy, the lead singer.
Yeah, so his wife stormed the Capitol. What?
Wait, his wife stormed the Capitol?
Yeah, she did.
Oh, of course she did.
And he loves her for it. He fucking loves her for it. He's in the back with the proud. He's back in the back with the Proud and the Powerful.
And Ortiz.
Yeah, Tito and Ortiz Tito. What did I say? Santino and Ortiz. You're making me mess up. That's not Santino and Ortiz, not Tito Ortiz, the UFC fighter.
Santana and Ortiz.
I know he's Santino. I'm having a rough day.
Savio Vega.
Savio Vega.
Piece of shit. But they're in the back with the Proud and the Powerful. And Chris Jericho tries to get over his new saying, GFY. He really wants that go fuck yourself to get over. And it honestly, it's the most old man thing that he's ever done. It's just making him look older and older.
Let's go, Brandon. It has vibes like that.
Right.
Just like, okay, just say it. Don't be a child. I know your wife says it a lot. Clearly,
and Mox literally said it earlier in the night. Mox literally said the real thing earlier in the night for real. But then Proud and the Powerful, they say, hey, lay off Eddie Kingston because we like the guy. We're fans of it. And you know what? We're not so sure if we like you. And I think we're finally getting the end of the inner circle. Roy, how are you feeling about this? You feeling jazzed about this?
Way overdue. Overdue. I was telling you that I really liked the segment, but I couldn't figure out why, because I hate Chris Jericho. But there was just something about, like, I think you put it the best way, is that the characters in the show are starting to see Chris Jericho the way that we, the fans, see Chris Jericho. So we're feeling really good about that. I mean, look, Donnie, at some point, I'm going to send you, if you're not familiar, Eddie Kingston promos, and I think you'll just fall in love with Eddie Kingston.
Right.
And especially, like, Eddie Kingston's this, like, blue collar working class wrestler. He's been wrestling for 18 years. He's from Yonkers. And, you know, he's very open about his mental health and his struggles with mental. He's such a likable baby face, like grinder. And then you see, like, bad dye job Chris Jericho with his, like, zip down, like, hoodie vest. And you're just like, there's nothing.
Looking more and more like Gordon Ramsay every day.
But in a bad way.
In a bad Gordon Ramsay.
I really liked it because I really like Santana and Ortiz, and it's time. It's time to get them away from him, and they're doing it really well. They're establishing this, like, we've been fighting all of these other people that you're picking fights with. So it's time for us to go pick a fight of our own and go after the tag team titles, which I loved.
Donnie, how did you feel after not seeing Chris Jericho in many a year?
I think I don't know if it's meta and they nailed it, but he seems so bad. Like, he seems like he's not going to grow or figure it out. He seems more like the archetype of, like, here's the ex-wrestler who can't let it go, and he's not going to adapt to, like, how to be a manager or how to, like, be good at it or whatever his role is. And I don't know, it worked for me because he did seem so out of touch and they seem so authentic. So it's like, it was heightened by their authenticity and his just, like, unnaturalness.
It feels so good to hear.
What is he wearing? The zippers down here to, like, where the gut starts. Like, I get it. Like, I do the same thing. But, like, he's just seemed not set in that role, and it doesn't seem like he's gonna let it. And, you know, wrestling is famous for this, right? Like, not letting go and going gracefully into the night, which stuff later comes up. where I think they did a good job. But yeah, I don't know. It just maybe it's meta and they nailed it. But
something that Chris Jericho actually, there was an interview I remember when he was in WWE in the early 2000s. I think he was having his John Cena feud right before he had his first break with WWE, and he said something in an interview. He's just like, I don't want to be 40 years old in wrestling. I don't want to be 40 years old. I want to get out now. And so I don't want to be that old man that clings too long. And literally he's been moving the goalposts so long that he's actually attained it. He's actually attained that level. We have some comments here. Apollonia is very upset that the NWA stands for National Wrestling Alliance. They wrote, damn it. John Busman, GFY, are you wearing that shirt, you geek? Was there a shirt? Is there a shirt now?
Is that true? I don't know. I think he was just making light of what Jericho was wearing, which wasn't good.
It was just not good. Go fuck yourself. Are you wearing that shirt, you geek? That's pretty okay. These reference shirt. Joe writes, wait, really? Jericho is a Proud Boy. I don't. He's definitely supported the Trump campaign. We know he's donated money.
I think that's the best way to look at it. He supported Trump because
his wife did storm the Capitol.
Yes. His wife was 100% there. There are
his wife is a proud lady.
He's not a U.S. citizen, right? He's Canadian, isn't he?
He's a Canadian.
I think he's a citizen because he voted. He did vote.
He's been hailed from Manhattan since 2006. But we've got Swiss says, get rid of Jericho and his weird hoodie. I miss the hoodie. Joe writes, I always like Jericho. Now he's the weird old guy that thinks he's young and cool. Yeah, but now he's the weird old guy. You're damn right. Still a legend, though. Come on, Joe. Joe, you were doing so good. You're doing so good, and then you're just trying to heap praise. He's fine. He doesn't need your help. He thinks very highly of himself, Joe. Swiss, apparently that was said to Mox was, get this drunken piece of shit out of the ring. Woof. Fuck that guy.
Wow.
Oh, man.
This crowd was a little spicy tonight, as we learned in the Cody promo.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. We're going to get to the Cody promo. Don't you worry. But at the end, Santana says, you feel me? And then Jericho says, I don't feel you. He didn't understand. He did not understand how that worked. You don't have to respond to that.
The finest low budget indie movie performance I've ever seen. It was like,
no,
I don't feel you.
I do not feel you. Very rough, very rough. Really, and I think he's going for a joke, but anything he says comes off sad at this point. Moving on, we get Alex Marvez with Adam Cole in the back, and Adam Cole's upset because he's put his hands on his girlfriend. Don't say girlfriend. Everyone knows it's Britt Baker. Give her name. She is a champion. Say her name. They minimize the championships too much. I'm just glad that she wore the belt when they went out. Next Wednesday is going to be a lights out match with Orange Cassidy. We're going to have a lights out match. Donnie, what's your favorite lights out match? What's back when you were watching? What's your favorite lights out match? Can you describe one?
That's when the Undertaker comes and it's out for a second, right? And then he wrestles in the light, which is weird. So I've never heard that. And they did a correction of like, they literally said, he must have misspoke. Like they kept saying that in the when he said lights out match. And I was so confused because then later you see they're in a lights out match. I'm like, wait, what?
It is a lights out match. I think the announcers just have been off. Let's all talk about Jim Ross real quick. Jim Ross, he was having a rough night, honestly, for me. He sounded pretty sleepy. Anyone else have any thoughts on Jim Ross tonight?
I was distracted because he kept calling Tony Tone. That's all I was hearing the whole night. You got that right, Tone. That's all I kept hearing.
When's the last time you heard JR call a match, Donnie?
Definitely in the 2010s. It was so... Yeah, it was really to hear. Well, first of all, since I'm like behind the eight ball, like him here in Shivani was like watching a crossover episode in an old 80s sitcom. I was just like, my mind's blown. And I'm like, if you told me 20
it's like you're flipping the channel so fast.
Match, I'm like, no, what is happening? There's no way they would ever. And yeah, I don't know. He would abandon his own bits. He'd be like, the powder blue suits are in. And then Shivani or whoever the other person's name I'm blanking on. And they'd be like, oh, are they? And be like, no, I don't. He'd be like, no, I don't think so. This is your bit. and he'd parachute the second you call him on his bit. And it was, he doesn't have his fastball.
He does have that fire wasn't there tonight. We are happy he's healthy though. We are happy he's healthy. I want to be healthy. But what we really want you to smash that like button, follow us on Instagram. That's what we really want. Follow Loser Leaves Wrestling on Instagram, Loser Leaves Pod on Twitter. We got some comments. We got Tony. I'm scared this will lead to one last run for Jericho. Don't be worried about not gonna happen.
That's over.
It's just not gonna happen. There's just too many people above him. You think they're gonna give Jericho title run before Punk or Bryan?
Yeah.
Or Cole. Or a Cole or anyone there right now. I see a lot more people ahead on that totem pole. Tony writes Jericho page 2. I'm not sure what that means.
The first time Jericho, so the inaugural AEW heavyweight champion was Chris Jericho, who beat Hangman Adam Page. So he's saying Hangman Jericho 2.
Oh, Hangman Page. Oh, gotcha. No, thank you. Smiz, seems like there's a no DQ match every week. Used to be special, but now every feud gets one. You're damn right. That's an issue. By the way, Donnie, lights out match is a no DQ match.
Yeah. So what they do is, it's an old Southern match. Like they used to do it in the 70s where it would be lights out means like unsanctioned. So it would be like this thing where all the other matches on the card would happen. And then the ring announcer gets in the middle of the ring and he says, the following match is a lights out match. Please turn the lights off. And then they turn the lights off for a second and then they go back on. And he's like, okay, now everything's unsanctioned. And then it's a no disqualification.
We really fooled the sports commission.
Yeah. The issue I have, there's two things, right? I mean, they're doing, because Excalibur said it on commentary. So the last lights out match that they had was last year when Britt Baker, Adam Cole's girlfriend, wrestled Thunder Rosa. And probably the match of the year. It was an incredible match. So my feeling is once you hit the best you can ever do in a certain type of match, don't do it again. Just don't do it again. They did it. It's done. Give me a cage match. I don't know. If you want to do a stipulation, give me a different step.
Honestly, I was thinking that when they said lights out match, I'm just like, did they lose their ladder? And then later on we get that. But I was thinking like literally we only get hardcore matches. We only get hardcore matches and we get them every week.
Get them a lot.
Every week we get one. And it's just dumbing it down. Joe writes, maybe until wants to have the crowd sing along to another new Fozzy garbage song. Maybe I can't wait. He should take a break and come back and that song will be over again. Buseman writes, best commentary in the biz is Taz and Excalibur on Dark. Yeah. By the way, Donnie, the other guy that we were listening to today, there was Tony Schiavone, Jim Ross, and Excalibur. He has a mask. He's a masked announcer. Taz and Excalibur is great. Taz is with the company, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that. He's got like a faction or a group of dudes. Yeah.
They make assassins.
Yeah. The other thing is, I don't know if you connected the two, but Hook, you see those promos for that young wrestler? That's Taz's son.
That's his boy.
No way.
Yeah. We're gonna get to it. That's like the highlight of the night, so we can't ruin that. Moving on, we got a CM Punk and Sean Spears video package to promote their fight that's happening up next. Honestly, that video package was great. Sean Spears promo was amazing on Rampage. You should all check it out. It was really great. Got me real hyped up for this match. And it was seconds long. Yeah. Seconds long. We have CM Punk versus Sean Spears and immediately gets GTS'd for the win. I'm so sorry, Donnie. I am so sorry. Donnie, big CM Punk fan, Chicago native, and you really wanted to see a CM Punk match, and this is the one you got. How'd you feel afterward?
I think I told you this when we hung out last. I used to see CM Punk at the Lamont Dome 2000. LWF Wrestling, like they called it the Lamont Dome. It was a park district where a bunch of, white dudes would get together and tussle. And I have OG, my friends, we text about it all the time that we got to see him for like a 2 or 3 year run, pre anything else. And I just remember he used to do the split leg moonsault off the rope like RVD. And that he abandoned that. I think when he started coming up in the I hadn't seen it in the Indies or anywhere else. He's my absolute favorite wrestler with like a real connection of like, this is my Green Day. I discovered this band. I was there I saw it. I will forever love him. And then I see basically like a bushwhacker going into a Royal Rumble match and getting thrown out immediately and not being it. And I was like, okay, great. Well, I'm glad he's doing well.
Roy, how disappointed are you for Sean Spears? Were you disappointed?
No, I wasn't. I'm not gonna lie. Here's the thing. I'm disappointed on Donnie's behalf because Donnie needs to see this match. But Donnie, I'm gonna make sure we find a way for you to see CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston once you discover who Eddie Kingston is. We'll take care of that off air.
Great.
Yeah.
But I like this because it doesn't get for Sean Spears. The best you can possibly do for Sean Spears is the promo he cut leading into the match and being the bumbling accountability buddy that he is. Like, that's what he should do. And also, I should say this was AEW trying to make up for their mistake last week. They screwed up last week because they nuked CM Punk last week by letting Wardlow fucking destroy him for 10 minutes and then accidentally roll him up. He needed to get his heat back. He needed to get his momentum back. So he had to beat Sean Spears in 10 seconds.
Whatever. I don't know. It was just
I'm not
very
saying it's
disappointing.
Good,
and honestly, that promo warranted something special because you got to see a different layer and it was wasted. I don't know. But we have some comments about lights out matches. Joe writes, lights out matches are silly concept. An unsanctioned match still heavily promoted by the company with their refs. Doesn't make sense. Very good point. They're going to have refs in the match. Unsanctioned, my eye. John Busman says AEW can't be responsible for anything that happens in a lights out match. Anything could happen. You mean silly. Joe writes, God, please ask TK to care about Sean Spears. He's great. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. John writes, perfect length for the match. To have it end as soon as MJF sits down after his entrance had me lull. That was a pretty good. Well, I don't know, for story purposes, it worked. Yeah. I get it for story purposes. I was just excited to see Sean Spears go at it with CM Punk. I was excited for that match, and I didn't get it.
Absolutely.
I didn't get it. Well, we move on from there. MJF storms the ring afterwards. He's trying to sneak up on CM Punk, being very sneaky, about to do something, but CM Punk sees him, and then he grabs his scarf, and he's about to wail on him good, but then he slips out of his scarf. He slips out of his slippery scarf. That's a tongue twister. And then he puts it, CM Punk puts it around his neck, and now he's wearing the scarf. So now we have another layer to this match that it's for a scarf.
It's going to be a scarf on a pole match. That's what it's going to be.
It's no, I don't think they'd do that, but like
lights on.
They're just keeping they're keeping the storyline doing something. I don't know if this was necessary. I honestly feel it would be better if he just walked away. I didn't like this moment, right?
I thought it was fine. I mean, I like that even though they kind of got a little face to face, they still haven't touched. It still hasn't happened. They've still never touched each other. My prediction is that they're going to be in Chicago in 2 weeks. I think that match is going to happen in Chicago in 2 weeks.
Oh, you're right, because CM Punk even made mention of it in that Sean Spears, like, I'm going to come after you. It's going to be when you least expect it, at a place that you least want it. And he said something along those lines. I think it's probably going to be a Chicago thing. You going to be watching that night, Donnie?
Yeah, I think I definitely, if those two link up, fill me in. I probably could have done
both undefeated.
But next week's like Bash at the Beach or whatever. Whatever.
You know, it's funny. It used to be called that, but then the WWE did the cease and desist, so they had to change it.
But is there because this match, this feels like you just have these two charismatic, just like orbs, and you can tell all trains are headed west, but like, is it because in Chicago, it just happens to be Chicago where Punk's from, that's the big event? Or do they have big events where it's like you make those matches head that way?
They have 4 essentially big events.
They do quarterly shows,
quarterly pay-per-views, but then they have specials. Like next week's Beach Blast is like, they're like special, and they have a winter one called Winter is Coming, and they have every once a month they have like a special week, a special cute week. Honestly, I like it. I think it's fun. It's kind of fun. I don't know, but now that I'm saying it out loud, it sounds really hokey.
What's funny about it though is that like I think, Donnie, you can appreciate this. I think it's like one of the first things you notice too is like if you watch like a standard Monday Night Raw, there's always going to be like maybe one match that's like meant to be a really like serious competitive match that's given time. But in AEW, like all of their matches are given time and they're all like pretty competitive and athletic. Some matches later on in the show got a little too much time, in my opinion, which we'll talk about later. That's so that they try to make up for it by constantly doing big matches on TV.
But are the themes, is it like how old school Survivor Series used to be? Here's these 4 dudes, here's these 4 dudes, King of the Ring, a tournament style. Are they actually special, or they're just like we're doing a theme party in the office? We're having margaritas because it's Cinco de Mayo and Marsha's making bean dip.
Remember that sense of urgency we talked about earlier? It really is with the booking as well. There's just like, it's constantly, like, there's no, there's not that much forethought. There's just not that much forethought.
They move 1,000 miles an hour, and if they drop something or make a mistake, they're like, "Oh, we'll just do something next week."
To have that type of situation, would require a month of pre-planning for each match, and not a single. There's maybe a match that has like some pre-planning, maybe 2, but not more than that. Like,
well, and that's the thing. Yeah, it feels like a startup, and I know they're established, but like we just got to keep moving. We'll make our mistakes. We just got to keep going because we keep growing so quickly that we have to keep up with that. And like you can feel that frenetic pace in their business plan and sort of the matches.
Joe writes, special nights make it seem like fans must watch. Standard Raw or SmackDown each week. Who cares? Good point, and I agree with that. John writes, it's still special to me. Damn it, we don't want to take
100%. I feel the same way.
But I will take it from you so we could talk about Billy Gunn. We have to talk about Billy Gunn confronting Christian. Like saying like, yeah, your guys, my guys in top 5, they deserve a match. And Christian's just like, yeah, you kind of always blew it. Like if your kids share your DNA, they're probably going to blow it as well. And then they just beat the shit out of them, which I liked. How are we feeling about this? This is a good way to set up their next match.
Yeah. I think it's good. I think they need to lean more into the ass boys thing. They have to
lean more into ass boys.
But
Are you familiar, Donnie, with Danhausen? Okay. That's actually somewhat fun for you to jump into, but this is impossible for me to describe. Absolutely. But their nickname is Ass Boys because Billy Gunn, Mr. Ass, and his children Ass Boys. We don't have to talk about this one that much because there's nothing really to talk about.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I hope they have a good match. I hope they have a good showing. They've never had a good showing on national television. They only wrestle on YouTube, and those matches are usually 3 minutes. So hopefully they have a good showing.
I hope so too. Tony writes, every special is something worth watching for sure. Yeah. And it's fun. We all agree. But next up, I think this is the most important part of the show. We get Cody Rhodes coming out in his Johnny Carson suit. He comes out. Chica Marks texted me Johnny Carson suit, and I put it in there. He comes out with this very funky suit, and that Razzy's coming out. They show a Go Big Show commercial.
Oh my god!
And we see him coming out to the ring, and we get this it's just not helping. Just to give you a quick synopsis,
or it is helping. We don't know.
Or it is. Cody has been faced the entire time, and people just turned on him. Similar way that
I think it's important to add to this, Donnie, just in case you don't know. Cody Rhodes is kind of one of the founders of this company.
Yeah,
and he's been the face of this company since the beginning.
Yeah. And he's been booed in a similar way John Cena got booed. He was such a good such a good guy, clean cut, and kind of always gets what he wants, that people started booing him. And just like John Cena, he's refusing to bite the bait, and he wants to stay face. But the thing is, he is not as likable as John Cena. Like John Cena's like a likable person, and Cody with his psycho hair and American flag tattoo on his neck just kind of like rub people the wrong way. And he comes out and he's constantly trying to, it seems like he might be playing 3D chess right now, 4D chess, 3D chess. That's just regular chess, 4D chess, where he's kind of like baiting people into buying that he refuses to quit. And so he keeps doing things that are designed to try to make him look like he's trying to be a good guy, but in reality, he's waiting for people to hate him more and more. Right, Roy?
Yeah.
You think?
I guess so. I guess, Donnie, just like before everything we just told you, just taking that promo at face value, like what were your takeaways from that promo?
I love when people like give credit and reference anything they say or do, but he comes out and he talks about the pipe bomb interview, and it just, you cannot be like, hey y'all, I'm about to be sincere. Sincere is this one thing, the most famous interview. And to me, it just felt like, and with everything you guys are saying, very sort of manipulative, where it's like he was saying like, I'm never going to change, I want to be a babyface, but I didn't believe him, because like it's coming from this place of arrogance stuff where like it didn't feel sincere, right? Like the suit, all that, the ladder, all of it, just, it didn't feel like this is actually him pouring his heart out, when especially on a night we saw promos where people were being very genuine.
Sure.
And it just looked, and maybe that is 4D, like he's manipulating everybody and then he's going to make himself the victim, and then now he's the victim and it's the big reveal where he becomes a heel. I don't know, but
that's actually a very good point though, because like that, I think that's actually with every promo he's ever cut, is that he's giving this very thoughtful, very like on paper babyface promo, but he doesn't seem to be sincere about any of it. Like, I feel like there's a part of him that's just not in that promo, any of his promos. If you look back at it, and the one that really blew up was that America one he did back in April with Anthony Ogogo,
The worst.
which was pretty tone deaf. And he even admits it. He's like, it's the worst thing I've ever done in my life. And he did that promo. But like, it's all like, seems like it's coming from that place. What, you were nodding your head, Roy. What were you about to say?
God, you know, the thing about it is like, you know, it's almost like he's trying to, you know, I think Cody is smarter than all of us. I'm getting to that point now where I'm like, okay, like he did that thing. He said something of, you know, CM Punk was going to do this, and he laid down the groundwork to start a revolution, etc. Whatever he said. And then that's like, it's like he did a reveal, like he turned this evil look on his face. And it's like, you're turning heel. And then immediately he's like, because I did it for you and we're the best. And it's just, he's just on another level.
Right. That's actually a very good point.
And the other thing is like, I was listening to like a wrestling talk show, and this journalist who's like an older cat who was around in the 80s and was a wrestling fan in the 80s when Dusty, his father, was like doing this, but his father was like, I'm the son of a plumber, I'm the everyman, I'm with you, I'm the man of the people, but he looked like it. Cody's coming out in these like really expensive Johnny Carson suits and this stupid neck tattoo. And it's like, I don't connect to you in that way. And I think Dusty, I don't know this enough. I heard this from this guy, but like Dusty over time also started getting booed because he just kept putting himself over again and again. And I think that hurt Dusty's feelings. And I think Cody knows that and knew that from Dusty. So he's like, cool, you're going to start booing me. I don't give a shit. I'm going to fuck with you. And that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
And to that point, with Dusty, he came off as genuine because everything he said was in the ring. You know, he thought and said it in the ring. Cody writes everything out. Cody plans it. Like he has it written down on a piece of paper and rehearses it. And he has it crystal clean when he comes out, and it feels that way.
Yeah. And they didn't know in the 80s either that Dusty was the booker of NWA. Yeah. Like they didn't know that. Everybody knows that Cody's in charge. And the other thing that's interesting too is that Cody doesn't have a contract right now. Like that's real. He actually hasn't signed a new contract. He is technically a free agent right now.
But that being said, he did challenge, even though there's a contract not for him, but there is a contract for a match next week, a match for a ladder match between Sammy Guevara and what's his face, Cody Rhodes. TNT Championship, which I'm very excited for. I'm very excited for the match. I'm excited to see a ladder match.
My dude Cody is going to jump off the top of that ladder through like 18 flaming tables, and the crowd's gonna boo the shit out of him.
Yeah, it's
like,
pretty exciting.
No matter what he does, he's gonna get booed in that match. It's gonna be crazy.
Donnie, did you go to Inspire shows in Austin?
No, I didn't, but I followed and
Sammy Guevara.
People,
Sammy Guevara is one of the Inspire guys.
Oh, no kidding. Oh,
yeah.
awesome.
So he's gonna be there. We have some comments here. Oh my God. Joe. Wow. We have a lot of comments, so I have to actually scroll up. Jeez Louise. We had some Billy Gunn. Very evil of Billy Gunn to do that. John Busman writes, and he put a tooth. Joe Redlitz writes, very nice, very evil. John Busman says, oh my God, Donnie, what do you make of Cody? We got the gist of that. Tony, fans chanting Royal Rumble really pissed off Cody. Oh, is that what they were chanting?
Yeah, at one point they were chanting
that.
And then at one point they were chanting his name. Once he started burying the WWE, everyone started chanting his name.
Yeah, another part. They wanted Cody in the Rumble, would be insanely cool Forbidden Door moment. Never going to happen though. Apollonia writes, Billy Gunn seems like a guy who would bully you into a corner by saying, I'm a nice guy, really aggressively. And that is the worst guy. Apollonia then writes, Danhausen. John Busman says, I keep going between Cody is a genius who knows what he's doing, and this guy is an idiot who's just saying words. As some say, Cody started the Divas Revolution. Very good.
Too, there's this other thing that Cody like kind of laid the groundwork for too, where he was just like burying all of the people that they're signing. Like he was kind of burying Jay Lethal, and then he was kind of like burying Adam Cole, and it's just like he's talking about like Red Dragon and how they're jobbers. It's just Wednesday Night Wars. Like so much was happening in that promo. I couldn't handle it. That's when they started cheering him.
But yeah, we're excited for next week. We're excited to see what happens. We have to breeze through this. We're like short on time.
We're all right.
Then we get Tony in the back with John Silver, Anna Jay, Jade Cargill, and Smart Mark Sterling. And they're going to have a match for the TBS title on TNT.
So annoying. They're
going to have it on TNT. They don't care about this title. This is the secondary women's title, Donnie, the TBS championship.
Hey. Cody says there's no secondary
title. Cody said
there's
no secondary title. I'm so sorry. Any initial thoughts on anyone in this segment? Anyone stand out to you?
The last line of it that Jade said was great, but
that bitch show.
She did feel very convincing and had all the charisma of it up until then. The other seemed very, and again, I know I'm naive and I don't know the characters or anything, but
I like this perspective. I like this perspective because you're getting it clean. You're not tainted by like you have no idea what Anna Hungy is supposed to be about.
Right. Jade said more in one word or one sentence than anything I heard prior to that.
Yeah, and she does say it every week.
Jade started wrestling last year, and her first ever match was a mixed tag match against Cody and Red Velvet, who you see later in the show, and she was teaming with Shaq.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
great.
Next up, we get a Kings of the Black Throne. Kings of the Black Throne, Malachi Black and Brody King versus the Varsity Blondes. Great entrance.
Yeah,
great dual entrance with the two of them. Love the lights on, lights off stuff. But boy, was this match confusing. So they go in and they start fighting. For some reason, Brody King is taking offense from Griff Garrison. Why? And then Brian Pillman Jr. is about to do a springboard. And he's just like, I don't have it in me.
He's a chicken. He's scared.
Is that it?
Yeah, he's a terrible actor, but he's also supposed to be scared.
I thought they were blaming the ropes.
No, he was like, I don't know what they said. They said something about him being scared. Because remember, that happened. Remember, like Griff was going to stand up for Julia Hart like a few weeks ago, and Brian Pillman was like, maybe don't do that. I don't know. Maybe it's not a good idea. Maybe you should just stay away from him because he's big and scary. So that's him like being scared. He's scared.
It felt like a bigger, the mental block angle I actually really liked because that's such a thing in sports, right? Where an athlete just goes through that. And I had not really seen that in a while. And I actually enjoyed it because I can tell it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
I want to believe that. I truly want to believe that. But we get right after they win, the Kings of the Black Throne win, we get a Pac promo where he's like, even though my eyes are gone, I could still see better than them all. And he's saying all this stuff that makes no sense, not a lick of sense. But essentially what they're trying to get at, but they've never actually said, Malachi Black spews black mist. And when he spews black mist, he did a promo where he's with this faceless guy and he spits in his face and he's like, you're my follower now. Presumably that was Brody King. We never sure of it, but we're assuming that's Brody King. But he spewed black mist in Pac's face and Julia Hart's face and a little bit in Brian Pillman Jr.'s face, but I don't think they're recognizing that. But essentially it's supposed to say that like now you follow him or he has you under mind control or something, but they've never said that. They've never established that. So Pac saying like, I'm incorruptible, you can't do it to me, like doesn't make sense to anyone that's not us following it religiously. Did you catch any of that with Pac? Did any of it make sense? Did a lick of it?
It was interesting to see Scary like this dark ominous force, and then but we're gonna even dark ominous that, but in red. And it was like, I mean, even just from like the storytelling standpoint, it was super like, okay, so that, but these guys, I thought they were scary. They're not. He is, I think, but it was very incoherent.
Sure.
But again, I didn't know any of the storyline.
It was intriguing though. It caught your eye, but it didn't make a lick of sense.
Yeah. Right. It seems like they're laying real stakes, right? And that's what like wrestling misses a lot. Like if what you're saying is true, that it's like that's real stakes, right? Like he's breaking through this thing, and that I'm on board.
Poor Donnie thinks that the Brian Pillman Jr. angle is going to go somewhere.
I think it will. I think it will slow burn.
Sweet
Slow
Donnie.
burn.
It's set up. At least.
All right, we'll see about that. What you do? What, you have a feeling about this, Roy?
I think it's a slow burn. Look, this is like really niche, and like I don't expect anyone like who even watches Dynamite on a weekly basis to know this. I don't know where I saw this clip. I didn't even see the show, but one of their YouTube shows, Julia Hart's starting to act a little weird. Something happened, so I was
hoping it was going to be tonight.
I thought it was going to be
tonight.
It
was going to be tonight. She's in all red. She's wearing a red outfit.
She's got that eye patch.
I thought she was going to come like low blow grip, like Brian Pillman Jr. Like doesn't know how to springboard.
She's got to spit the mist.
Away.
She's got to spit the mist.
I was hoping she'd like low blow or do something to Griff Garrison, then lift up the eye patch and it's a white eye.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That would have been dope. That
100%.
Would have been so dope, but they didn't give us that.
Maybe the contacts didn't come in time.
We'll see. Next up, we get Hangman and Archer promo. Lance Archer and Adam Hangman Page promo. And Jake's back. And he apparently give a promo about this.
I'm happy about this. I'll tell you why I'm happy about this. I don't know if y'all are familiar, but Jake Roberts and DDP have started a podcast with Conrad Thompson. It's not good. It's not good.
Really?
Yeah, because Conrad Thompson will ask a question like, hey, Jake, like, you worked with this referee. Any stories about him? And he would just be like, let me tell you something, DDP really saved my life. And he just starts talking about whatever he wants to talk about. And Conrad's too afraid to just be like, yeah, but I asked you this question. So, and then DDP chimes in. He's like, yeah, bro, DDPY, it'll save your life. It's a great idea. It's not good.
What is it called?
It's called the Snake Pit. But anyway, I saw a video of it and Jake had like an oxygen tube in. So I was worried that he was in trouble. But in this promo, he was doing okay. So maybe that was shot a few weeks ago when he had COVID.
He is returning from COVID, so we'll hopefully he's better. But did you? Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit. But like, what would you think of Jake being there? Did you? Were you fun? Was that fun for you, Donnie?
Yeah, it's always great to see him. But if you go to your local events theater space for $20, you'll be able to find Jake the Snake. And I think. I don't know. He seems so disconnected from the actual character, or like not his own character, but the wrestler he was supporting.
Yeah,
and it was just like, what is going? Like they seem so unnecessary because that big dude later on, he was great, but I just didn't get why those two were even thrust upon him. It just didn't make any sense.
It did. It made sense early on when Jake was first there, but it hasn't made sense in months that they're together. But we're going to talk about them in just a second. We do get another backstage spot with Trent and Rocky Romero taking the Young Bucks spot to talk to the camera.
This was
really?
Yeah.
Tell me.
This was great because I'm familiar with the history of their tag team. So I was excited to see them together again. They have a long storied feud in Japan with the Young Bucks, which they go into detail on before the show is over, which I also appreciated, which is something they never do, to build up a match that they're going to have on Friday, which is going to be live, which is also like a cool thing. So I did like this. All right. I Donnie, didn't need Brandon.
The Brandon mentioned. Any feelings on this at all, Donnie? Did any of this feel anything? Did you have any feelings?
No, I mean, I've heard of the Young Bucks forever. It feels like the band that's about to, like I've been hearing about them in passing for forever, but yeah, didn't go over my head.
Yeah, no, they're really fun to see once. Moving on, we're going to talk about Frankie Kazarian versus Lance Archer. It's that big dude that's real scary, and they have a match that's 30 minutes long, 2 commercial breaks, just the Frankie Kazarian getting his ass kicked the entire time. Lance Archer looked great in this match, but honestly, way too long, right?
God. Yeah,
it wasn't dynamic. Yeah, it wasn't dynamic of a match. It was sort of one note the whole way.
It was just a lot.
If you don't want to bury Frankie Kazarian, then don't put him in this match. That's the thing. They don't want to just squash Frankie Kazarian. So they had the match go 2.5 hours. Like it could have been It should have been the length of the Brody King match. Maybe a little bit of offense.
It should have been switched. They should have flipped it.
Sure.
Or give the Shawn Spears match some time.
Sure.
My God.
Sure.
They did literally half this. It's just upsetting. But we get him getting the pin with this crucifix slam. I'm not sure what it's called.
That move is scary.
It's a good looking move. It's a good looking move.
Scary.
But Tony was with Lambert and Archer in the ring. Archer grabs the mic and says they're just saying some stuff, some nonsense, and then Hangman comes out. Hangman, they have this little brawl, but Hangman does get the best of him. He does get the best. Yeah. Are we excited? I'm excited for the match. I'm not excited for anything post it, but how are we feeling about Hangman versus Archer?
I'm into it. I think, like we said, I mean, Hangman fought Danielson for, he had 2 huge, like, very well wrestled matches. So now he's got to fight a big dude. Like, as the heavyweight champion, that's like the inaugural challenger is usually like a big dude.
Yeah. What are you thinking, Donnie?
Yeah, the Hangman stuff, he is one person I read about. I mean, he's just so, he should be, a lot of times you put the belt on somebody who may have some deficiency. He doesn't seem to have any deficiency. Like, I rabbit holed all of his promos and everything because I was just so attracted to it. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate to the fans, right? But that's the longer play, right? You have him beat a big guy and it just adds to it, or get robbed by a big guy. But I mean, obviously you want to see him with other tactical dudes, but the guy hits all the notes, and but I don't know, big guys matches. It's not for me.
I'm excited. I'm excited for it because Lance knows how to work. He's really strong, and he's
not stiff at all. Yeah, at all. Yeah.
We do have some comments here. John Busman seems angry at me. Let the House of Black tell their story. Sure. I just have no confidence that they can finish the story. Joe writes, how many podcasts does Conrad do now? Jesus, just stop quality over quantity. You're damn right. There's too many podcasts.
Hey, just listen to
Jeff Jarrett. Just Jeff Jarrett. That's all we want. John Busman, Trent is anti-bullying, TM, because he was being very nice to Brandon.
He was being nice to Brandon.
Brandon Cutlet. And John Busman writes, Little Red Cornet, fuck off. You're being a jerk. I do not like Jim. I don't like Jim Cornette. It's just something to have. He just has a lot of content. And honestly, my world is only an hour and a half. And that's all I have. I need to have more. Geez. All right. We have to keep moving on. We have things to talk about. So we got through that. Then we get Dante, Martin, Lee Moriarty, and Seidel. And it's a combination because they go immediately right to Ricky Starks and Team Taz. Dante's saying that Seidel's like a brother to him. And that's why he's there to him. Where's Leo Rush?
And Jay Lethal just saved him like last week. And
Jay Lethal just saved him. And
like, those are my brothers. What?
Ricky says that Dante has a little brother syndrome. Donnie, did you know Ricky is also from Inspire?
Oh, no kidding, man.
He's another Inspire guy. How'd you feel? Did any of these people stand out to you? Anyone scream, "Hey, look at me"?
Yeah. I mean, the one in the yellow shirt seemed very like, I could tell he had star potential, but the little brother one they were mentioning in the Taz, the main dude who talked, and then I mean, once I saw Taz stuff, like I was just like, oh, okay, I get this Taz. But yeah, it was really weird to see 2 groups back to back. I don't know. It was just like, it felt a little clunky for me, where it's like, we hadn't really seen that, but here we're going to show like a call and response, which was, I don't know, a little weird.
There were a lot of backstage talking segments tonight, like an overload. Like literally there's at points 3 in a row of these type of segments. And it honestly, it feels like that. It feels clunky. It feels like they're wedging it in as much as possible with no transitions between.
Hey, like, Bash in the Beach is coming.
Yeah, bad beach bliss or whatever.
I think I'm just like not immune, maybe immune. Like I'm just so used to this that it doesn't feel that way to me anymore. There's always like one where I'm like, that didn't need to be there. And we'll get to the one that I'm thinking of.
Well, so they just had Dante, Moriarty, and Seidel. Then they immediately go to Ricky and
Call and response.
Powerhouse Hobbs, and then immediately to Tony, Velvet, and Chris Statlander.
Okay,
And then here comes Layla Hirsch, because Layla Hirsch, because by the way, Donnie, everyone gets interrupted in this show. No one's able to have a clear thought, like a full sentence. And then Layla comes out, and Layla Hirsch is just like, yeah, you had your head in your ass when we're having our match and you don't remember shit. Fuck you. And then they start fighting. She hits Velvet Sky and falls down, then locks Chris Statlander in an armbar. I'm happy that Layla is getting this kind of push. She's an interesting performer, right?
Yeah.
Layla felt like, she feels like if I saw her in real life and like accidentally spilled my beer on her shoe, she would like call me a coward right away and be like, hit me, you won't do it. Hit me. Like from 0 to 60. She felt like the most believable promo.
That's crazy.
For the whole night for me. She was just so intense and I was like, oh, okay.
That's crazy you say that, because she has been she's had a rough time on the mic, historically speaking.
Really?
She's learning how to talk.
She's learning. This is her first time ever talking for wrestling. Like she's been a performer, she's been on the indie circuit, but she's never had that opportunity to talk on the mic. And this, even though she was completely had her back to the camera like the entire time, you couldn't see her face at all. But like she did a good job here. Roy, you feeling the high on Layla?
So what I'm feeling good about is, like, we've talked about this a lot. Like there's a ton of people on this roster who have never been on television before. And if they have been, they were mostly matches. But now they have to do these backstage segments where the cameras are right on top of them. So if they're going to hit somebody, it might not look that good. Layla laid it in. It looked good. She smoked him. And then that armbar looked good. So like, she was just kind of like doing her Jersey thing. She's from the middle of Jersey. So she's talking trash like people from Jersey do.
She's a Russian Jersey person.
Yeah.
And then she just beat the fuck out of him. And I liked that a lot.
We're very excited for her, Layla. There was actually, it was pretty good. Joe writes, Leo Rush has been gone from the company, right? Seems like he's disappeared. Ego trip backstage, maybe wasn't the part of his problem in WB. No, he asked Tony Khan to apologize for being insensitive, and now they're keeping him off TV.
I don't think that's true. I don't.
It happened immediately after. He was on TV before that, and then he hasn't been on TV since.
I'm sure. Fine. I'm not gonna.
I think that's the case. By the way, Donnie, Tony Khan is the owner of the company. He runs the company. And he said some pretty insensitive thing about a former.
I think I saw the racial.
And Leo Rush's immediate response was apologize. And then he had like a kind of like a backstep a little bit. He's just like, I love working for this company because we're able to talk about things. We're able to, and he tries to backstep it, but he hasn't been on TV since. You don't think this is?
I don't know. I think it's part of. Maybe, but I know that like he's still with the company for sure. And AEW's. This is going to sound so dumb coming out of my mouth. They're releasing a rap album and Leo Rush is working on it currently. I don't know if that's why he's not on television, but something, I feel like there needs to be something. Cause even when he was on TV, the last time he was on TV, it was kind of like a weird clunky thing with the Team Taz thing. And like the whole thing's been like weird and clunky. Cause just to fill you in, Donnie, he had a team with Dante.
Dante's one of his and
then they like did a thing where like Dante joined Team Taz, but it was like a swerve. But then like Leo wasn't there to be like, good job, we swerved him. Dante was like, I swerved him myself, I guess. So it's like kind of weird. It's all like kind of weird, but I don't know.
Apollonia writes, some people just don't have the chemistry with the camera red, in reference to Layla Hirsch staring directly away from it. Some people don't have the chemistry with the camera, but be sure to check out Bot Thoughts tomorrow with Red Jefferson, where I talk about BattleBots. And I do the review of the show. You should all check it out. John Busman says, on Dark, Taz did say he appreciates Layla's chip on her shoulder. About damn time. That would be a good pairing. Layla Hirsch with that group with Taz's group. Taz and Layla Hirsch makes sense, right, Donnie?
Yeah. Just even visually, like even visually,
Taz would tower over her, and that doesn't happen.
Wow.
She's like 5 foot. I think she's like 5 foot even, maybe a little bit shorter than that. I think she might even be 4'11".
And he's what, 5 centimeters in his neck? About 5 centimeters.
he's all head. He's all head. He's like 5'6".
Do you guys remember Arrested Development? That character, Little Bluth's girlfriend, the one who couldn't be knocked over. She was the catcher, had a low center of gravity.
Bell.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that's Layla Hurt.
Yeah.
Like you can't knock her over.
You can't knock her over. Very
A
very
brick
good.
shit house.
Brick shit house. Joe writes, no rap album, please. Honestly, I'm excited for that. I kind of want the rap album. But we got to move on. We got to talk about some other things. We got to talk about Serena Deeb versus Sky Blue. Sky Blue is out there, takes all of Serena Deeb's shit. Serena Deeb beats the shit out of her. Sky Blue, she could sell a little bit better, but what? This is her first time on TV,
She's like
right?
19.
She's 19 years old.
Chicago's own.
Yeah, she is Chicago. That is very true.
But Serena Deeb beat the living shit out of her.
Donnie, do you remember the Straight Edge Society when Punk was doing the Straight Edge Society gimmick?
Yeah.
They had the woman with the shaved head.
Yeah.
That's Serena Deeb.
No way.
Yeah, that's her. That's her.
Wow.
And God damn it, Joe, you're just ruining everything. John Busman says, I heard Roy say rap is crap. And then Joe writes, rap is crap.
I like country music. I like country girls.
But
I like Willie Nelson.
don't
Don't
have
forget
to
about
do
Merle.
Let's not sing WCW.
There's only one thing that I hate because it's a bunch of crap. Rap is crap.
Are you Bruce Pritchard right now?
What?
Just singing us?
Bruce Pritchard hates rap is crap.
No, but he sings the song every single episode.
Does he sing the Jeff Jarrett song? Is that
Yeah,
what
the
he
Jeff
sings?
Jarrett song.
Yeah.
But by the way, Serena Deeb puts on the Tequila Sunrise, yanks it back, literally like snaps Sky Blue in two. And we're all excited for it. She looked impressive. We're all excited for Serena Deeb just beating the shit out of everyone. I guess she goes after Ruby Soho after this. Like Ruby Soho is a logical progression.
Whoever came out to the ring last week to help Shida is who she should beat up next. Sky Blue is one of them, and then there were a couple other women.
But this is probably leading to Ruby, right?
I would hope so.
Ruby has nothing else going for her.
Yeah.
And
well, sorry to interrupt. Why wouldn't she go for the title with the MD in the beginning?
Point, Donnie.
That's a good point.
Great point.
Yeah,
the reason why is because right now they don't care about the women's title, and they have Britt Baker in a program with Adam Cole where she's not even defending the title.
I would tune in.
You didn't even notice that she was the champion. Did you notice she was the champion?
No, I didn't.
She had the belt on.
Yeah, she had the belt on under her jacket. And then the TBS title was in a backstage segment, but they're both bad guys, and Deeb is a bad guy. Probably not going to be facing them. So Ruby's got nothing going on. So maybe Ruby. So
I think
she should be the champion. She should be the champion instead of Britt Baker if they're not going to use Britt Baker the right way.
Sure. Why not?
Either way, Joe writes, spend my days working hard on the go. Don't
do
this. Don't do this. This isn't that type of show. Then we get Lambert and Ethan Page in the back talking about Moxley and whatever, right? We're all whatever on that.
Ethan Page, perfect first opponent for Moxley back. Ethan Page is a good wrestler. He's going to make him look good and he's going to lose. It's going to be great.
Okay, I think we're in agreement. But then we get the Hook package.
Yeah.
We get Hook coming out and so you didn't realize that was Taz's son, did you?
No, he doesn't look
cold-hearted, handsome devil. Yeah, he does not.
Right.
No.
Yeah, he's really a treat. He's a treat to watch. And very surprising. And he has had 4 matches.
Yeah.
In total, and he's already the biggest star. One of the best selling merchandise. He has the best selling merchandise in the company right now.
Donnie, they did a thing where he was on TV for a year, never talked, never wrestled, was just always like with Team Taz in the background, eating chips or just like having a deadpan, like, and just like the curiosity just grew and grew and grew about who this person was. And then by the time he finally wrestled, he was just crazy over. Everybody loves him, including us. We love him.
Yeah.
But the hands are in the hot. This is nonsense, Joe. Are you drunk? But the hands on the clock are spinning too slow. Hook. Okay. All right, we're having fun. Then we get a Sammy Guevara and a Speedo, just doing the sign gimmick. And honestly, I've never hated someone more.
Yeah. And he's supposed to be a good guy. Like this is your baby face.
I don't care.
Come on.
Terrible. He's a baby face, Donnie. But Donnie, how do you like the picture-in-picture gimmick throughout the show? Do you like that?
Yeah, I actually think at first I liked it, but I think it devalues your product because I find myself now tuning out even in it. And it seems like it just puts a spotlight on the biggest moves aren't going to happen during here. So you can feel free to,
Yeah. That's actually a really good point.
Yeah.
That's when I. get water.
That's very interesting. That's a good point. Moving on, we got Matt Hardy and Andrade. They make a deal.
I hated this segment.
No, this is your favorite segment night. You said this was a really great writing and story. This is one of your favorite episodes.
I was so disappointed because I was so excited for what this could be, and this is what it is.
Yeah, he sold 51% of the Hardy Family Organization. What is it? I don't know. Hardy Family Fund. And he sold 51% to Andrade. And now Andrade owns 51%. And now there's this complicated board of directors, essentially, because he's 1/5. And then the private party are the 2/5. And then Andrade is a 5th. And then I don't know his friend. Who's the Andrade?
Oh, Jose.
Jose's friend. So they're all part of it, but Andrade is final say, and he's the president. And his first act as president is to buy Darby Allin, the boy that Sting owns. So there's that. Andrade is so much better than this. Andrade is so much better than this.
Yeah.
And it just feels terrible. Makes me feel sick. When's the last time you saw Matt Hardy, Donnie?
I mean, obviously I followed with the delete stuff. I saw he went back to WWE and he couldn't do that, but he did get a push a little bit. And yeah, it's whenever they released him, was that like 2 or 3 years ago or even longer? I don't remember, but I last saw him in his WWE later push.
Yeah, it was it's whatever. I'm just not a fan of this character, but we do have some comments here. Can we start the old Chuck Norris jokes with Hook? Very apropos. Oh, that's interesting. I think they make advertisers have to hate picture in picture, right? Sure, some may watch, but they aren't focusing in on the commercials. I'm sure actually that there's a problem with that. I as an advertiser, I'm just like, oh, I'm splitting my time with your content that I'm paying for. I don't know. But now we're at the main event. We're at the main event of the night. We finally made it here. It's the Acclaimed versus Darby Allin and Sting. We get the Acclaimed doing a dumb Darby Allin video to begin with. Just to give you a reference, Donnie, Darby makes trash videos sometimes right before he comes out that make no sense. And so they just did a spoof of it, which made no sense. But we get Acclaimed and Sting. Acclaimed beat them down in the beginning, gave Darby Allin this really interesting spot with a chair around his neck, throwing into the post. Looked rough, and they brought him to the back. And then Sting slowly dominated the first half of the match, slowly but surely dominated. Then things go back and forth. Darby comes back, does this cool little spot. Sting jumps off the rampway. We get a win with the coffin drop. How do everyone feel about this main event? Was it everything you hoped for and more?
Yeah, I think my initial thoughts, it's like, since we're talking about country music and rap, there's this lyric, I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I'll ever be, from the poet, Proud Boy, Toby Keith, I think. And I think anytime I watch matches with old wrestlers, it's like, they're good for 1 or 2 spots, right? That's all they can do. They can just get their spots. It's very clear where Sting got his spots in this match. But it's just, if you put just another capable wrestler with Darby, who was incredible and every move mattered and everything mattered, like it would not diminish anything. And I just don't know, when they did such a good job from what I saw of using old WWE, old guys well, then I watch this match and it's like, oh, well, you just told me to go fuck off because you did such a good job with the old timers, except into this, because it's not believable that Sting's gonna.
Yeah. Roy, do you think they picked the wrong guy to send to the back? Shouldn't it have been Darby? Or there shouldn't have been Sting that got beaten up in the beginning, sent to the back, and Darby have that match?
That's really interesting. Like, my initial thought when that happened was like, not so much like, this isn't believable, but it's like, you guys are going to break Sting in half. Like, Sting may have a heart attack. Like, Sting literally almost like broke his neck like 5 years ago. Like, when was that? Like 5 or 6 years ago. And he should have never wrestled again. And now
I watched that last thing. Like, that was the last time. I was so shocked that he's like, what are you doing?
And now this guy's literally jumping off. Like, the first time, like, this is maybe his like 6th or 7th match. He's been with the company for about a year, a little bit more than a year. This is like his maybe 6th, 7th match. Always a tag team, never a singles match. And the first time he like did a dive onto like 3 or 4 wrestlers, it was like, oh shit, crazy. Sting's doing a dive. He's so old. And now it's like Sting's doing a dive off the ramp onto one wrestler onto a table. And by the way, the wrestler is hunched over. So you're like jumping onto like only half of his body. That's stressful.
It was
like,
good. Whew. But honestly, Sting in small doses can still go. I'm happy for Sting. He had that cool moment with the deathlock. We talked about it
really
here.
cool.
Really cool moment. John writes, the no sell and wrenching back in the deathlock was great. Joe writes, I hope Darby doesn't get seriously injured one day. He takes spots that look way too dangerous. And for what? A standard TV match? The thing is, he's 107 pounds. He could take a lot. He could take a lot. And he's not falling the same way.
I would also say the idea of like the standard TV match has gone by the wayside in a way. When these TV contracts are so big, just to get into the business of things, these TV contracts are literally what fund all of these wrestling companies now, that like the TV shows are that much more important. So Darby is going to do Darby on these shows.
No, agreed. I just want more for Darby. I just don't like seeing him in these in tags. I want him to have a singles run.
What do you think his ceiling is though? Because he is so small. Like
he's can believably fight anyone. Like it's crazy the way he handles himself in the ring and the way he uses his body. I could see him being a champion, like that underdog Rey Mysterio champion, where he just like he does everything it takes to win. It's just that I feel like this tag team is handcuffing him. It's handcuffing him to Sting, and Sting can only go so far.
Sting should be his like heater. He should be his out like for so long. Because the TNT title, Darby had a TNT title run for a while, and Sting was with him the whole time, but Sting was just on the outside watching his back. That's great. That's a great role for Sting.
Honestly, I don't think Sting should be there anymore. I love Sting. I think it was great for the time, but like, what is Sting bringing anymore to the table? We've seen this type of match from Sting a bunch. You know, we've seen this match a bunch of times, and Darby is now handcuffed to only this match.
Well, I think too, the thing that's scary is like the first time they had a tag match, like to go back to like, he did a dive and it was like, ooh, you know, and then like they had another tag match a few months later and he went through a table and he no-sold it and got up. It's like, ooh, but now every time he's got to raise the stakes every match.
Right.
Now he's like jumping off.
I'm telling you right now,
before
the end of the year, Sting's taking tax. Sting's taking tax. And I say it right.
Flair took tax at like 65.
I see it happening. Got some thumbtacks. Oh, you got those push pins.
I was ready.
Push pins would fucking suck. Push pins would hurt so much more. Redley 697 gets Sting out of the ring. New crowd chant. You didn't even watch the show, so we're not going to talk about it. John Buseman, it was the flip of most. It was the flip of most of their matches where if Darby takes the bulk of the punishment and Sting gets the hot tag. But I would have preferred, I don't know. I just want Darby to shine. Why is Sting shining here? He doesn't need to shine.
I also felt like, and I don't normally feel this way when they feed wrestlers to Sting and Darby Allin, but I felt like the Acclaimed actually came out of this looking pretty good, even though they lost the match. Like, I think the build to it, the promos, like their character, you got to see more of their personality and their characters. And even if they lost, like, even Max Caster's freestyle before the match was really good. Like he had the crowd, like there's a lot of really good things from the Acclaimed, and I'm liking the Acclaimed more and more as a team.
Scissoring. That's good. But Joe writes, Darby is definitely a credible underdog future champ. Sting was good for the buzz, but he's got to go, or actually just be his manager, like you were mentioning. But will Sting's ego allow? Honestly,
Sting has no ego.
No. But that's a good way to end it. Let them have a match. What's the end of this?
Yeah, it should end with a Darby Sting passing the baton officially over to Darby Allin. It has to end that way, 100%.
Boy, we had some fun tonight. Wow, we had a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun. This has been AEW Dynamite, the Woos and Whats. Are we excited for what are we excited for coming up? We got a ladder match coming up, which we're excited about.
I'm excited for Rampage because it's going to be live. It's not taped. I'm excited for a live Rampage.
And Hook's going to be on it.
Hook's going to be on it.
Going to be excited.
The tag match I'm really excited about, and I'm excited for Jon Moxley's in-ring return. It's going to be like a standard match. It's going to be good.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's exciting. Well, so much fun we had. And thank you so much to Donnie Rodriguez for joining us today. Anything you'd like to plug? Look at that Rodzilla
that Rodzilla shirt.
We didn't even talk about that. Rodzilla, NWO. Anything you need to plug? Anything you want to plug?
No, I'm working. I'm actually off social media just for this month because I'm working on a couple of scripts in between work breaks. Yeah, basically. So, but in like 2 weeks, follow me at Donnie Rath. I'll be there eventually. I just need to finish some scripts and I'll be back. But thank you guys This is so much fun talking wrestling, and like I apologize to the diehards if they had to explain everything to me, but it felt like, you know, it's like if you want to know a lot about a topic, you have to be able to teach it, and you guys did a great job teaching me throughout, and I really appreciate it, and it makes me respect you guys even more because you know how to Reddit explain to me like I'm 5 stuff, and it was great. And
you were a joy to have on.
Fantastic. It was great catching up.
Yeah,
seeing you.
Redley writes, Sting should rebrand as the Ghost of Sting. Think about it. And then writes, don't ignore me. I'm honestly going to ignore every single message that person sends in. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been the woos and what's, the woos and what's of AEW Dynamite. Follow Loser Leaves Wrestling on Twitter and on Instagram. Loser Leaves Pod on Twitter. Loser Leaves Wrestling on Instagram. Send us your emails to loserleavespod@gmail. We want those delicious emails, and we're going to be posting some weird stuff on Twitter about wrestling. All wrestling related though. Make sure to watch our show this Saturday for the Weekly Wrestle. Yeah, there's going to be a big special preview. We have a big special preview for the Weekly Wrestle, and then tomorrow for Bot Thoughts with Red Jefferson, where I'm just going to talk BattleBots. We're just talking BattleBots here. Donnie, do you watch BattleBots? Mick Foley's BattleBots. Way back. That was Robot Wars. Oh, same God. Shit. I think so. Not the same. It's not good. It was not good. We have to talk about that off here. Thank you all so much for watching. Robotics. Thank you so much for checking. Have a great night. Bye, everyone. Bye. Bye. Rodzilla 5, 4, 3. Ole. 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 Ole.